The movie opens up in a dimly lit skating rink where the main character, Sebastian, and his young daughter, Anna, are happily skating together. However, their pleasant time is short-lived as they are forced to leave when loud noises startle them. As they cautiously make their way out, they are ambushed by desperate blind bandits who steal all of their canned food. Sebastian considers fighting back, but Anna tells him not to. Outside, we see that the city of Barcelona has fallen victim to an apocalyptic catastrophe, leaving only a few survivors. A mysterious supernatural entity seems to have taken control over the entire continent, and anyone who looks at it will be manipulated to commit the unthinkable. While the entity cannot physically harm people, it can instead manipulate individuals through their emotions and drive them to take their own lives. Sebastian and Anna venture out in the streets, wearing specially designed eye goggles covered in black paint, ensuring they do not even accidentally catch a glimpse of the terrifying monsters. Shortly after, they come across another group of survivors, and Sebastian pleads to join them. In order to gain their trust, he claims that he is a former construction engineer who can help them set up a generator for light and indoor heating. Convinced by his offer, the group allows him to join them, and he asks Anna to wait for him until he ensures that the group is safe. Following this, the group takes Sebastian to their camp, which is an abandoned bus station. There, he meets a doctor who tends to his wounds. He also meets with another fellow survivor who has stitched his eyes in order to save himself from the entity. The man reveals that while many people feared the mysterious entity, some possess the ability to roam around the city without the need for blindfolds, who are regarded as the seers. However, these seers now serve as messengers for the entity. Unbeknownst to the group, Sebastian is one of these seers, having seen the monster himself. In the early hours of the morning, while the rest of the group is sleeping inside a bus, Sebastian quietly enters the driver's compartment, locks the door from inside, and starts the engine. The group members quickly wake up and try to stop him, but Sebastian refuses. He drives the bus out from their hideout and into the outside world, where the group faces immediate attacks from the mysterious entity that manipulates each of them to kill themselves, one after another. One of them commits the unthinkable by lighting himself on fire while another uses a shard of glass. Here, it is revealed that Sebastian is a seer who lost his daughter to the insidious creature, and the figure he sees is actually her spectral form. He has now taken on the responsibility of seeking out other survivors in the city and forcing them to look at the entity, leading them to end their lives. In his perspective, this act is a way of liberating their souls, so that they can be reunited in the afterlife with their loved ones. The scene then cuts to a flashback, 9 months prior, where it all began. On that fateful day, Sebastian was at his workplace and saw the news of the apocalypse spreading across various regions in Europe. Worried about his family, he rushed to his daughter's school. Outside, he witnessed the horrifying effects of people succumbing to the entity. Regardless, he somehow managed to collect Anna, and on their way home, they came across a local church's priest named Father Esteban. Unlike others, the priest had a different perspective, viewing the entity as a holy spirit and the apocalypse as a divine miracle. However, Sebastian avoided him and returned home to his wife, who was waiting for them. They were about to drive away, but suddenly, a car came out of nowhere and hit his wife, leading to her death. After this incident, Sebastian was left alone to take care of his young daughter, and he really struggled to survive in the post-apocalyptic world. Sebastian and Anna then sought solace in a secluded area, attempting to find some happiness in their harsh reality. However, their peace was abruptly disrupted when a group of seers, led by Father Esteban, discovered their hiding spot and captured both father and daughter. The priest appointed Sebastian to become a seer like them, while he cruelly forced Anna to open her eyes, manipulating her to commit the unthinkable. After this tragic incident, Sebastian often has visions of Anna beside him. But unbeknownst to him, she is just another form of the entity. In the present, Sebastian finds a new group of people to take him in, using his generator trick once again. This new group includes an English woman named Claire, a young German girl named Sophia, who is around the same age as Anna, an elderly couple named Roberto and Isabel, and two other men named Rafa and Octavio, along with their dogs. The group leads Sebastian to their underground hideout and then inquires about the whereabouts of the generator. To their dismay, Sebastian admits that he just made it up, which infuriates the group and orders him to leave. However, the group changes their decision when he showcases his multilingual skills, enabling him to communicate with Sophia. Sebastian then translates Sophia's story, revealing that she got separated from her mother during their trip to Barcelona. She also mentions a mountain castle, which is believed to be a safe haven and where her mother is currently staying. In addition, she explains them by drawing a picture of the castle and a cable car that leads to it. In the next scene, the cunning Sebastian persuades the group to head to the mountain castle. He also tampers with the dog leashes, so that they easily break upon slight impact. The next day, the group ventures out on their journey, but on the way, they are confronted by the entity, which takes on the form of their lost loved ones. The apparitions create chaos and distraction, and the dogs break free from their leashes and run away. When Rafa removes his blindfold to catch them, he sees the entity and is forced to commit the unthinkable. Amidst the turmoil, Roberto is also bitten by one of the dogs. In a state of panic, the rest of the group members hide in an apartment and shut all the doors and windows before opening their blindfolds. After this, Octavio, Sophia, Claire and Sebastian climb upstairs in search of some medical supplies for Roberto. During this, Anna's manipulative influence over Sebastian leads him to open a window, resulting in Octavio's demise. Anna further urges her father to remove the blindfolds of Claire and Sophia, but for the first time, he hesitates and begins to question the morality of his actions and his beliefs. After a while, the shell-shocked group continues their journey towards the mountain castle. Along the way, they find themselves pursued by a group of seers, forcing them to run for their lives. Sadly, Roberto and Isabel are left behind during the chase. Claire implores Sebastian to go back and save them, but he insists on leading the group to a nearby house. As a result, the elder couple looks at each other and kisses for one last time before being killed. Inside the house, Claire vents her anger towards Sebastian, calling him selfish for abandoning the elder couple. Soon after, she learns that Sebastian is also a seer and therefore, decides to distance herself from him. Sebastian tries to explain that he means no harm and genuinely wants to help them, but his attempts fall on deaf ears. In the midst of this discussion, Anna's persistent influence continues, urging him to free their soul as he has been doing before. But once again, Sebastian resists Anna's influence, saying that she is only a mere hallucination. In the next scene, Claire and Sophia put on their blindfolds and run away from the house. However, Sebastian follows them to the rooftop, trying once more to persuade them. Somehow, he manages to bring them back inside and reveals about his daughter along with the influence she had over him. He then genuinely expresses his desire to help them. Just then, their conversation is interrupted when they spot Father Esteban and his followers approaching. Being a seer, Sebastian guides Claire and Sophia out of the building. During their escape, their way is blocked by one of the priest's followers who sees Sebastian as a traitor and attacks him. She attempts to gouge out his eyes, claiming he does not deserve to see. A fierce brawl then ensues between the two of them, but Sebastian somehow manages to throw her off the building. Following the intense chase, Sebastian brings Claire and Sophia to a car and drives towards a tall tower equipped with cable cars that lead to the mountain castle. Amidst this, the relentless pursuit by the priest and his henchmen continues. Upon arriving at the tower, Sebastian instructs Claire to take Sophia and proceed while he decides to stay back to stop Father Esteban. Following his orders, Claire and Sophia start climbing the stairs to the top of the tower, but at one point, a weak step breaks, nearly causing Sophia to fall. Fortunately, Claire manages to hold her tight and pull her up before resuming their climb. Concerned for their safety in their further way, Claire decides to remove her blindfold momentarily. Eventually, the two manage to get inside the control room on the top only to discover that the cable cars are currently inoperable. Claire spots a large bell and rings it, successfully activating the cable cars. However, the vibration from the bell also attracts the attention of the entity. As it approaches them slowly, the surrounding begins to tremble, including the cable cars. It desperately attempts to lure Claire and Sophia by imitating the voices of their loved ones, but the determined duo resists the temptation and safely boards one of the cable cars, making their way to the mountain castle unharmed. On the other hand, Sebastian manages to stab the priest with an iron rod, but he also sustains a critical injury in the process. Both men succumb to their wounds, but Sebastian, in his final moments, is relieved to see Claire and Sophia's safe departure to the mountain castle. Upon reaching the castle, the two notice that the entire place has been transformed into a community of its own, with military personnel maintaining security. It appears that the castle has become a self-sufficient sanctuary for a majority of the survivors in Barcelona. Shortly after their arrival, we also see an emotional reunion between Sophia and her mother. Afterwards, Claire is taken to a laboratory, where some researchers conduct blood tests on her. Curious about the purpose of these tests, she inquires, and one of the researchers explains that they are conducting these tests to find a chemical indicator, an epigenetic alteration, which could help them identify signs of extreme stress and specific emotions targeted by the entity. The researcher also reveals that in some rare cases, individuals who have experienced extreme stress and trauma undergo an alteration in their DNA, rendering them immune to the effects of the entity. This explains how Sebastian, after the devastating loss of his daughter, became a seer instead of being manipulated. Additionally, the researcher discloses their efforts to develop a vaccine against the monsters, using blood from a captured seer. In the final scene, the researchers are seen carrying out their experiment by injecting an epigenetic antibody into rats and placing their cages inside a sealed chamber. Unfortunately, the outcome is far from promising, as a menacing growling sound emerges from the chamber, and the rats perish, indicating that the vaccine compound has not yet proven effective.
If you want to watch the continuation of the series, don't forget to like and subscribe.